Hey, folks, welcome. This is Bobby J. Gallo, and you're probably saying, hey, Bobby, you didn't have anything scheduled tonight for a broadcast, and you would be absolutely right. So, what I'm going to do is give you a quick explanation of what we're doing right now, and I'm even going to open up the chat in case anybody pops on. What we're doing is we're testing out a new setup. As you can see, normally I have the camera on the side capturing my profile. We're going to change it up a little bit because we have some new shows coming up and I have some great guests in the works. So what we're going to be doing is basically a forward facing camera. It actually illuminates me a little bit better. Blurred background makes it kind of mysterious. So, and I also want to test the new internet connection just to see how everything works. So we're going to be testing that, and already see two people watching. Hey, everybody, I know this wasn't planned, so nobody even got a notification on this, but we are doing this with a purpose. Other than just testing the system to see how it's going to work, I want to talk about a few things tonight, and one of which is a lot of you may know that we now on the weekends, Renee and I, we have a side business that is paranormal related, and it's called Wick Candles and Oddities. Now, we're not here just to talk about my shop. I'm just going to say that right off the bat, so you don't have to tune out. But what I do want to do is I want to show you the shop real quick, and then there's something related to the shop that I want to talk about. So basically, here's a quick view of the shop. You'll see there's a lot of things in the shop, and it's all paranormal related other than just candles. We have a good amount of gothic themed items such as jewelry, paranormal themed books, paranormal equipment, all kinds of really cool stuff. So that's kind of nice. We have things kind of like the new Phantom Flip coin, which is something that we put out under the Wick brand. And basically what it is, it's a yes and no coin. So you can actually not only use this for decision making, and hopefully you don't use it for any decisions that are too serious, but also it's also used for spirit communication. So and in that case, it's pretty cool. And what I'm going to do really quick though is I'm going to up in the corner there change that slide there because that wasn't supposed to be there. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that's the new Phantom Flip coin. But you know what? Sometimes, and I'm going to go back to this screen right here, which is me. Sometimes you get in products, you think it's one thing, it actually turns out to be something completely different or something that you were not expecting. So inside this little case right here is something that we use on investigations a lot. And it is my trusty pendulum. And I've had this now for over a decade, actually a decade and a half. It is said to be infused with Reiki life force. And what do? I use it as a mode of spiritual communication. And if you know anything about pendulums, dowsing rods, or Ouija boards, those are called conduit methods of communication. And why do we call it a conduit method of communication? Well, simply because of this. When you ask a question and this thing moves, it's actually spirit that's working through you to make this item move. Okay. So with that, there's always an element of risk to that. Now, yes, I do use one and I accept the risks that go along with it. And we do sell them at Wick, as you can see right there on the stand in the center. You see all those little pendulums hanging. Well, those are pendulums that we sell for a really good price for those who want them. And with them, you could do a great many things. And I learned how to use a pendulum back when I was a professional magician. And there was a magician named Bob Pierce who actually did an entire lecture on it. And that pretty much got me hooked. And I realized how adept I was at using a pendulum. And at that time, I was using it as a magic effect, even though there really isn't any trick to it. It just works. Okay. But years later, and you'll see this in some episodes of Gallo Family Ghost Hunters, I use this with great effect for spirit communication. Now, whether or not you think spirit communication is good, bad, or indifferent is another story entirely. I talk about all of this in my books, Family Spirits. I think it's acceptable as long as you do it knowing the risks. Okay. Now, since we were carrying the pendulums in the store, I wanted to get some pendulum boards. Now, if you know anything about a pendulum board, it's a circular board and sometimes it has numbers on it, letters, looks maybe a little bit like a Ouija board. And I found this new item and it was called Tabula Mortem. It said communicate with the beyond. Now, this was available through my wholesaler. I thought it looked really cool. So I decided to purchase them and I got a couple boxes in. Now, I don't have them here tonight to show you only because they're all locked up in the shop and we can't get into the shop until the weekend. So I have some images that I grabbed off the internet, and I'm going to tell everybody right now that I don't own these images, and if these were licensed by anybody, I had no idea. I don't see any copyrights on them, but if they were, I apologize. Just let me know. We'll take them down. But until then, this is Tabula Mortem, and this is put out by a popular U.S. gaming company, just like Parker Brothers used to put out the Ouija board. Now, I thought these were normal pendulum boards because, as you can see in this photograph, it looks circular, just like a normal pendulum board. And there is the pendulum hanging in the middle. So I said, that's great. We could sell these with our pendulums that we sell at Wick Haven Candles and Oddities in Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, which we're open every Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 4 p.m. So if you want to come by, we'd love to chat with you. But be that as it may, that's neither here nor there. Now, when I got these, I realized something, and that was these were not regular pendulum boards. These were more akin to Ouija boards. Now, here is a normal Ouija board, and there is that pesky little graphic coming up again, and we're just going to change that there. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now here is a normal Ouija board, and once again, these were once available through Parker Brothers. And this actually looks like an old Parker Brothers Ouija board. Okay, you can see the letters, the yes, the no. A lot of people will tell you this has probably been responsible for more problems in the paranormal than any other piece of equipment. And I'm not judging, folks. Trust me, I'm not. I played with one of these as a kid, and I still use a pendulum, which I'm going to show once again. The pendulum, I still use this, which is a conduit form of communication, just like the Ouija board and just like dowsing rods. So I'm not making any judgments here. I'm just saying what I believe to be a fact, that the Ouija board has been responsible for a lot of problems in the paranormal. So anyway, here's the Ouija board, and here is the board for the Tabula Mortem box, game, whatever you want to call it. They call it I don't know, it's put out by a gaming company, but this doesn't look like a game to me. And you'll see that there are letters. You have the hello, goodbye, the yes, the no. But here's the thing. It comes with a pendulum, but the pendulum can also be used as a planchette. And the planchette, that is what you put your fingers on to move around the board. Okay. That makes it an actual Ouija board and not really a pendulum board. Okay. And I think there is a quantifiable difference, even though the fundamental aspect of communication, the conduit form of communication is the same. So they tell you that this could be used as a pendulum or a planchette. Okay. So there's your Ouija board. There's your Tabula Mortem board. There is your pendulum / planchette. Now, they claim that this is safe because it comes with and there it is again. This is really weird, folks, because this thing keeps coming up in the corner And I'll tell you what that is in a minute, but why it's coming up, I have absolutely no idea because I already deleted the picture out of the logo section of Restream. So this is really weird that that's coming up. Okay. So anyway, you'll see this has a little, they call it a blessing. Spirits dark and spirits light, keep this board within your sight, forever be a guide to me as I will it, so mote it be. To me, look, they might say that's a protection blessing or protection spell. I think it's a little weak, honestly. To me, I don't think that's going to protect you from anything, but they put it on the board to keep nasty spirits from the board. It's kind of ironic that it's next to a snake, but there's a lot of weird things about this board, and that's what I'm going to get into. Okay, another thing, and I'm gonna show everybody this right now. This is this is what it comes with. Comes with the board, comes with the planchette slash pendulum, and a guidebook. Now, one of the things reading through the guidebook that really struck me are two things. Number one is it's written by a guy named Judas, so maybe that's his real name. I don't know, or maybe that's a name he gave himself, which would to me would be a little bit concerning. But again, not making any judgments here. This is just how I personally feel. But there is, if you notice on the top right hand, you're going to see the picture of what looks like an old Cajun gentleman. His name allegedly is Papa Legba, and he is supposed to be a powerful voodoo spirit that is connected somehow with this board. Another thing is in the guidebook, it tells you how to make offerings to voodoo spirits, FODU. Okay. I'm really uncomfortable with that. Okay. So here you have what is allegedly a very powerful voodoo spirit and written by a guy named Judas in the book. The book actually is written by him, not the voodoo spirit. And instructions in the book on how to make offerings to voodoo spirits all before you begin to use this board. Okay. Here's another thing I wasn't real crazy about. These right here, these are runes. These are not just seashells. There are things inside the seashells. Okay. And they're supposed to be very old and have significant meanings. Unfortunately, I don't know what any of these significant meanings are. Okay. And to start doing rune work on top of this board, I don't know. I mean, it just seems to me that somebody who doesn't know what they're doing with this board can get themselves into a whole mess of trouble because what are these things? Okay. I know that the guidebook touches somewhat upon them, but again, I just don't know. So anyway, that's the Tabula Mortem board. Okay. And those are everything's in the board. Okay. So I'm going to go back to me. There we go. So folks, look, if you want to do Ouija board, that's up to you. If you want to do the pendulum, I do the pendulum. That's up to you. I know a whole lot of people that do dowsing rods. Conduit form of communications in their basic form, in their most honest, simplistic, innocent form, carry some risks as it is. Okay. This thing to me is just over the top in so many ways. So we're probably not going to be carrying them at the store. If you want to get one, they are available on the internet. I've seen them on eBay already, but I just don't feel comfortable with it. But I did want to do a quick review of it because I think people need to be a little bit careful, folks, when you're doing any kind of spirit communication. I just wrote an article on Facebook that there is a difference between using a ghost box or any form of ITC communication and doing something like the spirit board or a conduit form of communication. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want to really spend a whole lot of time on this. I did want to test out my new system because we will be using this for our upcoming streams. This coming Thursday, we have Shannon Collins, and maybe we'll talk about this with her. I would like to get her perspective on it because she's an amazing person, very dear friend of mine, and I've been wanting to get her on the show for a very long time. So we're going to have her on this Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube. It's also going to be streamed on Facebook, but we want you to go to YouTube for the primary reason is that you can chat. You can join in the chat on YouTube. And this way you can become part of the show, which we really, really love. So, Collins, and we're also trying to get Heather Taddy on the show. And you know how that goes. My people are talking to her people are talking to my people. Actually, I just sent her an email. I'm waiting to hear back. But I saw her at the White Hills Mansion Paranormal Expo. She's also just a wonderful person who considers me a friend because she's called me friend. That works for me. So we're going to have her on the show, and she's a real star. So we're looking forward to that. But Shannon Collins is our next guest, and she's going to be on Thursday at 7. So that's one reason why I did this, folks. I wanted to make sure that this new setup, the forward-facing camera, the new internet connection, that everything was working fine before we had Shannon Collins on. And then after that, we're going to have Heather Taddy on, but that is to be determined. Okay. So anyway, folks, that's all we got. If you miss this, you could always go back, but we're up at about 18 minutes. And I think we are going to end this now. So me and Vudini, and as you can see, Vudini is right over there. Say hi, Vudini. He's not much of a conversationalist, folks. We're going to see you, and we're going to end this in 3, 2, 1.